Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for listening to Operation Agency Freedom, where we are bringing you top secret advice from the world's most badass digital agency owners. These amazing men and women are sharing their stories of how they have built 6, 7, and 8-figure digital agencies and how you can too. My name is Chris Martinez, CEO of Dude, where we help digital agencies by giving them the people and the processes so that they can scale profitably. And today I am joined by another person from way up north in Canada, Adam Erhart from AdamErhart.com. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Chris, thank you, my man. I'm excited to be here today.
It's great to have you on. So as we were talking about earlier, you were actually Liz, our producer's first guest that she went out and found all on her own. So this is a monumental moment for us.
I know, as we were saying before, this could either go amazingly well or just totally terrible. We don't know, right?
It's okay. Liz is a really good editor, so she'll just pop out clips of maybe some YouTube stuff that you said on another video. And
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm sure if we chat for 30 minutes, there's going to be something profound in there that we're going to be able to pull. So we can just strip away all the nonsense and get right to the
Exactly. We're fishing for sound bites here.
That's right.
So, as we start off every show, we always have a little roundtable discussion, and you have a really, really interesting background. Before you got into the agency world, you were a pilot. Are you considered a private pilot or
right? So it's actually called a corporate pilot.
Corporate pilot, okay.
Or business jet pilot, depending which one you want to put it. But yeah, essentially when it comes to pilots, there's the private pilots who do it for fun, and then there's commercial pilots who fly the airlines and all things like that. And then there's corporate pilots, and they fly, or I should say, we fly business jets and things like that.
So how did you get into that? Is that aviation? Is that something that you'd always been interested in?
Yeah, super random, right? So it's I wanted to be a pilot. So I started flying sort of in my senior year of high school and started learning how to fly, and then went to college to learn the rest of what you need to know to do aviation.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is, especially in Canada, when you graduate as a pilot, you have no hours, you really have no experience, and because it's such a job that so many people want, the job prospects, they're not great, right? So I went way up into the Arctic, way up there into North Pole territory, and was working throwing bags on planes and loading stuff and just doing some really kind of hard work to try to sort of get into the industry. And fortunately, what ended up happening is on my way up there one year, I ended up stopping at a guy's place, ran some errands for him, helped him out with some stuff, another pilot guy who knew a guy, and then just how that world works, ended up sort of doing an interview there, and then the doors opened up and I started jumping through hoops, and next thing you know, I was flying business jets.
So how did you get access to flying when you were in high school? Did your parents have a plane, or did you know somebody who had a plane? Or
it's unfortunately, it's one of those hobbies or careers or skills that cost a lot of money to get into. It wasn't, looking back now at it, fortunately I had some help. Yeah. So we had, my parents subsidized a lot of it. We ended up sort of getting a plane later to get hours quicker, which was massively helpful, because otherwise, we had to keep renting them time after time. So that allowed me to sort of build up some hours really quickly. So it's neat, right? It's when we're offering advice and we're telling people you just do what I did. There's certain times, right, where luck factors into the equation, or when you're given these opportunities. And I had a lot of that, that sort of led me to reach that kind of pinnacle of aviation. And I don't know if it's tough to get there. And I know that a lot of things sort of fell in my favor to make that happen.
Yeah. So, with that, I'm so happy that you say that, because a lot of people don't even acknowledge the advantages that they've had in life. Do you now feel a sense of giving back because you recognize that you were given opportunities? Is that something that you've kind of embraced or that you try to do?
Yeah, totally. I've got this full. Yeah, definitely. I've got this philosophy where it's if you've managed to attain success in one area of your life or whatnot, you no longer have an opportunity to help, you have an obligation.
Right.
And really it would just be unfair. It sucks, and it's such a crappy thing to do. And second of all, it's kind of boring, because the fun is really, all right, yes, I did have some of these things help, but I also got crushed 1,000 times along the way. So here's how to avoid them. And I think that's what happens, is that when we're talking to people, whether it's aviation or it's agency stuff, is you see someone who hits this level of success and they either say, everything was given to me, or people think that everything was given to them, or they think that, I just fought and scratched and clawed my way and sweated out blood. And the reality is that it's often a combination. It's like the reason that my agency is successful now is largely in part from the lessons that I learned through aviation, but it's also because I just like, I sweated blood for like a half a decade to sort of build it up. So it's like, there is that balance.
Awesome, man. So tell me your craziest aviation story. Like, you don't have to tell us names or anything like that, but what's the craziest thing that's happened?
Yeah. Oh man, there's like, it's funny because in that world, it's so different than commercial, right? Like commercial, if something crazy happens, it's like the plane's grounded, everybody stops. We would end up in like sketchy countries that we would have to get out of. So it's like, no, we're going anyway. So I mean, like, I've got so many. I think probably the craziest one is that we had a lot of emergencies with the plane, because you'd think like a brand new business jet was going to be just flawless and bulletproof. But the reality is that they're computer driven. So they would have like glitches and issues and that. So we were coming into land in Egypt, and we had like a full flight of VIPs on board and some royalty people and like really famous names. And one of our engines decided to just like crank out as much power as it could.
Oh my God.
And so it's like, we couldn't shut it down. And it was just weakened and just torquing us down. So anyway, we ended up getting control of the plane, but pretty bad angle, and then like hit into the runway and like tore up strips through the runway. And then it was all in the papers the next day about this plane that supposedly crashed. We all walked away. Everybody was fine, but it was like, it was bananas.
It was one of those. I mean, did you see your life flash before your eyes, or are you like, I got control?
That was actually okay. I've had others where I was like, oh, if I get out of this, I swear I'm done flying. But that one was actually okay. It was just the most glamorous. We had others where we had some sketchy stuff. We ended up in weird countries that had one dude, and I'm a kid from Canada, right? So it's like, I'm not super familiar with guns that much. We've got some rifles here and there, and shot them at the range and what, but because we had publicity figures on board, the guy on national TV gave me a loaded handgun in front of like everybody to like basically sort of keep things safe. I was like, I don't even know what to do with this, man. Like, can you just hang on to it? And he's like, well, here, keep the bullets. So I like, he had to undo the clip. I've got this clip on TV. And so I'm like putting it in my pocket. And then we fly the whole trip. And I realized, I'm like, I'm flying this plane. I've got a clip of bullets beside me. I was like, this is just a bad situation. And I was like, and if I land, doesn't he need the bullets? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Really running into trouble. So yeah, it was a
he probably had like 20 more clips on him.
I'm sure he was strapped. Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, well, let's get into your agency. So actually, Liz found you on YouTube, and I was checking out your YouTube following. Very, very impressive. So tell us about your agency and how you got started.
Yeah, right on. So essentially the transition from aviation to agency was about that. Like I just stopped flying, sort of had enough, mostly based off those stories.
Yeah.
And came back home and was like, all right, what am I going to do? And I started, I think like what most people do when they start agencies, which is like, all right, what can I do? So I'll do some websites, I'll do some SEO, I'll do some social, I'll do this. And it's like, oh, you need a plan? I'll do a plan too. And it's like, whatever people needed. And I started.
Did you have any background in web design, or like, how did you learn that?
Right on. So no, really, like none. So when I first went to school for aviation, you do business and aviation. Okay. So I had like this textbook knowledge of how business worked, and we'd done some stuff, but like legit nothing. So the first thing I did when I got home is I started to get a marketing degree, which was somewhat valuable, but reality was I was listening to Seth Godin's Purple Cow, like on autoplay, back and forth to college, like every day. And I was like learning on the side as I was learning at school, as I was building an agency. So I was just, to look back now at how little I knew, but at the time it was because I was just so involved in the world, it was coming in quick. So it's like, yeah, I started to figure things out. I would watch YouTube videos. I would take courses when I could. I would learn how to work WordPress sites and build out basic stuff, and essentially work for anybody that would give me $1 to try to learn it up. And then from there, it really just sort of evolved over the years and figuring out, all right, what does the market want? Where am I able to provide the best value? Where am I going to make the most profit from it? Because there was a lot of things I was working that I sort of worked out how many hours. And I was like, I'm making less than minimum wage. It's like, this is not a sustainable model. So yeah, there was a lot of late nights and early mornings and rough years in there.
And then when did you really start to kind of pick up steam with your agency and realize, hey, this is something that's going to work?
Yeah, right on. So essentially it happened pretty quick. And this is probably the part that I'm sketchy to tell people, because you always hear about kind of these overnight success stories, and I don't think that's realistic. However, what ended up happening is I launched the agency kind of in like, let's say August or something like that. And I gave myself till, I can't remember, I think it was around November. So it was like September, October, November, maybe October, December. So like 4 months or so. And I was like, I need to make at least X amount of dollars. I can't remember what number I said. I think it was like 5K or 6K or something that would be comparable to if I went and got a job. And sure enough, by sort of like setting that number, I hit it really quick because I had to, because I knew if I didn't, I was going to have to go back to work and I didn't want to go back flying again. Right. So it's like, yeah, that first 5, 6, 7K a month came really quick. And then from there, it took like another month or whatever, and I hit 10. And then from there, it sort of snowballed. Like it was like 10, 20, 30, 40, like it just really ramped up quickly as I sort of dialed in the offer.
Wow. What were the services that you were offering that helped you get to that first 5?
Yeah, the first 5 was that super mix, like legit mix. I was doing like web design. So I'd be like, all right, well, there's 2K for a web design. I would do SEO. Okay, well, there's 500 for SEO. There's some social media. There's 350. I would just like piecemeal this stuff. Somebody wants a consultation. I do that too, like whatever someone needed. And it really helped because what ended up happening is once I got in and I realized that these business owners were incredibly good at business, but had no idea about marketing. All right. I could sell them, if I was unethical, I could sell them anything. But it was like, because they had no idea. Right. So I was like, all right, well, what is the thing that you truly need? And then just sort of start to figure that out.
Oh, nice. And then, as you start to evolve and the things that got you to 5K are not going to be able to necessarily help you get to 10, then 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40.
Correct.
What are some of the things that you started to change as your agency grew up and you realized what you could do and what you were really good at? What are some of the changes that you made as you progressed?
Yeah, Chris, that's super, super insightful, man. Like it's, you're absolutely right. It's like when you first start, I'm a huge believer in doing unscalable things. And the reason we do unscalable things is because people that are at scale can't compete. Like if a new guy came into the market right now and they wanted to basically do all the unscalable stuff and do all the networking and that, I simply can't. Like it's not going to be me. So he's going to take that part of the market away from me, and he deserves it. Like that should be his. So essentially, when I first started, it was a lot of networking, a lot of like face-to-face, building that trust, which you can't replace. Like there's just nothing better. But over time, I simply couldn't reach as many people as I wanted. So I started to really drive a lot more people through my funnels, launched a lot more content, a lot more email marketing, and sort of built out this entire machine that sort of did it for me.
So at what point did you start to incorporate YouTube? Because I mean, you got to think that that's a good, a really big traffic source for you. I think you have like over 14,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel, like hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, so YouTube's a nifty beast because I started a couple years ago with it, but I ended up stopping a bit as well because what happens with YouTube is that I've got mixed feelings about it because I'm so in love with it now. It's fantastic. It brings me a ton of leads, a ton of clients. There's no way to get around it. It's just like probably one of the best decisions I ever made. That said, it took so much time and money and energy to sort of get that momentum. And
you mean it wasn't easy? It wasn't like just put up a video and then you make $1 million?
I know, it's right. I've got friends in the space or whatnot, and most of them get crushed. And I've got some big name friends that have 2,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, because it's a brutal game. But I've also got others that have come in and it's like 100,000 subscribers, 6-figure side income and all that, like immediately. So yeah, it's a trick. Now the reality is that when I first started, I did it right. I hired a friend of mine who's a local videographer. We set up like my first 5 videos because my previous 5 videos that I tried to do on my own were brutal. I think they might still be up there, but they're like kind of blurry. The sound's not that good. I edited them myself. There's awkward pauses. So I hired him to like structure it. We designed a strategy. And then from there, I mean, I just keep investing back in the channel, I'm working with a really good YouTube coach right now, actually, who's got a massive channel. So he's consulting, and then we're working on new content, and I've got an amazing editor. So everything's sort of clicking now.
Awesome. Well, okay. So tell me, what are you guys working on right now? And I know that you have like a coaching program as well for other agency owners, which is awesome. So what are the main things that you do on a daily or weekly basis?
Yeah, right on. So from that perspective, we've got, basically a few different offers, one of which is the local agency, which I still keep almost to sort of stay current and stay fresh so that when I do coaching with other agencies, it's not like my university teachers that were like, here's all this stuff that we've never done. Yes. So I keep my hand in it, but it's not the money driver. The main money driver is from a combination of some content, some courses, and a coaching program to help agencies scale up. So on a day-to-day basis, it's a combination of, looking over agency stuff, working with clients, writing a lot of content, recording content, and essentially sort of practicing what I preach.
Awesome. There's a lot of agency coaches out there. What is like the key differentiator for you and what you preach?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and this is probably not sexy, which is why I'm happy to turn away a lot of people with it. But it's like my approach is very long-term structured. I'm not about building like a 6-figure agency today. I want you to make like that $500,000 or that $1 million or whatever you want to get to over a year or 2 years or whatever it is, so that you build a sustainable business. We've seen, oh man, you know this better than anyone, right? It's like we've seen all these people like start a Facebook ads agency today, and then they go and they start it and they're like, all right, how do I run Facebook ads? I don't get a client. How do I do that? I was like, you're going to get burned so bad, and it's just going to suck. So,
and you're going to ruin your reputation when you can't deliver.
That's it. Yeah. It's because we've all had those situations where we can't deliver, but when it happens again and again, because legitimately you're out of your league, it's a gut sinking feeling. And then it kills your dreams. Right. And the reality is that this model of having an agency and sort of doing this, like it's amazing. Like it's cool. You live wherever you want. You work whenever you want within sort of reason. You can hire people if you don't want to do as much work yourself. You can make as much as you want. It's just like, it's up to you. So my big strategy is like, we really focus long-term. What are your skills? What does your market want that you can deliver, that offers the highest margin, that doesn't make you hate your life? And then sort of aligning all that and then scaling it up from there.
Like, this game changes constantly. And I always say that, the internet world is like dog years. Because 1 year here in internet marketing land is like 7 years anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so what would you say, what are the things that are working right now for digital agency owners?
Right on. So the big thing that's working right now for digital agency owners is the fact that, again, I don't want to totally beat this one up, but it's like if digital agency owners can play that long game, it's almost like a war of attrition. Because what's going to happen is we're going to see these new people come on. They're going to do all sorts of crappy, spammy stuff. They're going to burn out and leave. And you're going to be the one that's like basically still going along there. Yeah. So what's working now is really a return to marketing fundamentals, like educational based content, providing a ton of value, giving away basically everything, like educating your client on what they could do themselves, understanding that a small portion of the market is going to want to do it themselves and you don't want them anyways. So telling them everything you have, because really that just establishes you as the expert. So my position and the reason that we have, the YouTube channel and all the content is that it's really educational driven. It's like, I'm going to give you everything that I have and you can go do it yourself, or you can come and get some help with it if that's you.
Can you give us a specific example of like, okay, so let's say that you're an agency owner, you've been doing this for about a year and you just can't seem to get to that 6-figure mark, which is a benchmark that a lot of people want to get to when they're starting out. What is the content strategy that you would give to that agency owner specific to, and let's say that, they're amazing at web development and running Facebook ads. What is the specific content strategy that you would give to that person so that they could start to generate more traffic and leads?
Cool. Right on. So I'll give you that. But first, more importantly, is like the mindset behind it. Because 10K is this like magic number, right? Like everybody wants that 10K a month.
Yep.
The beauty of it is, and this sounds so, hopefully not, it doesn't sound super douchey, but the reality is like, if you want 10K a month and you need 10K a month, it's like you can get there lightning fast. And like I got there because I had to. If I didn't, I'd have to go back and like get my job that I didn't want to do and leave and all that. So it's like 10K a month. If you just do the math, it's 10 clients at $1,000 a month. It's 20 clients at $500 a month. Anybody can sell a $500 a month service. Like it's not small. When I first started, it was a small town with like 30,000 people. And we found those people very quickly because nobody else was able to do it. So you've got to sort of switch it. Now, once that's said, the content strategy behind it really comes down to narrowing down your offer more than the content behind it. So it's like, what do you do? Who do you do it for? And why are you better than someone else? And then coming up with the unique mechanism or that hook or what makes you sort of different from the million other digital marketers out there. But that's really it. And then from there, you start to design content around, all right, well, what questions do they have? How could I answer them? But everything's going to lead back to that offer. It's like, well, I help businesses do this. I help dentists get more leads through Facebook ads. I help chiropractors improve search engine optimization rankings. It's like whatever it is, you become the clear and logical solution for that group. And you can have multiple different niches. Like there's no saying that you just need dentists, or just need chiropractors, but your offers have to be very specific.
Gotcha. I mean, what's an example of an offer? Like a white paper, 7 whatever, or
right. So even more basic than that. Like that'd be a decent lead magnet. You'd be like, how 10 steps your chiropractic agency needs to generate 20 customers this week or something like that. Yeah. But the offer behind it is like, I would help chiropractors get 20 to 30 new clients in 90 days using Facebook ads, something real, clear, and tangible. Because if you go to I do marketing, they're like, that's great. So does everybody. I don't even know what that means. Why would I need you? I'll get to you in the fall or in the winter, like whenever it is. So it's like you need to be very clear and specific on what you do and who you do it for. And so that really does kind of come down to an understanding of both your market, who you're trying to serve, and of course your service and what you're offering. So understanding Facebook ads and how they're great, but also their limitations. Like the fact that they're a discovery platform. That means that people have to go out there and find it. So if someone has search intent and they're looking for something, Facebook ads are terrible. They're the worst decision ever. But you've got to know this thing. So it really comes down to being aware of both kind of marketing as a whole and also your market, and then where your service fits into the whole plan of it all.
Gotcha. Now, a second ago, you were talking about this war of attrition, and I completely understand what you're talking about. When I started an agency back in 2012 before I launched Dude in 2017. But I can tell you that not a single one of the people that I knew that started an agency in 2012 are still in business.
Yes.
They've all gone on to do other things because this business is so unbelievably difficult.
Yes.
And a lot of these people, like you mentioned, they get in, they start to sell. Selling, I say, is the easy part. It's the fulfillment that's really difficult. They just don't know what they're doing. But the clients are so naive sometimes that they'll just buy whatever. And maybe you have the relationship. How do you feel that we can fix that? Because the negative side effects of that are an impact on everybody, including the good guys. Because now every business owner has been burned. They all, had some SEO guy who didn't do anything, or, the web guy who didn't turn around the website ever. How do we fix that problem as an industry?
Yeah, I love that question, Chris. Oh man, I seriously do. Because honestly, that to me is like, that's what's so important here, because it's going to separate the kind of like the wannabes from the people who are going to take it seriously. Mm-hmm. And again, it's that mental shift. Like, you want 10K a month, you're going to take it seriously. That's it. It's like, you're a business owner, you're a marketer. I think the way we fix it is that we focus on core marketing fundamentals. Like, for example, when I do an audit on an account, or if I'm helping out an agency and I'm looking over client accounts, and someone previously was running like I swear this happens. They still run like Facebook like campaigns. I just want to like put my fist through the computer. Like, nothing makes me angry. And what that is it's a failure to understand marketing.
Yep.
What's actually going to work. And it's a failure to take the time and step back and say, how am I going to get results for this? Mm-hmm. So an analogy that I love, that I think every agency should have, is, what would I offer if I was only going to get paid after they got results? That was it. It's like, if the only way that I get paid is they get results, what am I going to do? And very quickly, people stop offering Facebook like campaigns and social media organic content for the sake of organic content. Like, all of these things just disappear. And we start to go back to like maybe direct response, maybe search engine optimization with proper keyword research, maybe things that are actually going to drive sort of buyers for the business, because at the end of the day, that's all they care about. So I don't think there's an immediate solution. I think it just comes from people like you, educating your audience, having these conversations, talking about things that are really important. And the beauty is that the cream always does rise to the top. Mm-hmm. So your audience, by listening to this, right, they've already differentiated themselves as serious professionals who are taking it seriously and doing it right. So keep doing what you're doing. Like, that's the answer. And then everybody else will disappear. They can't not, because they're never going to get recurring retainers by building like campaigns.
Yeah. So I'm going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I agree with you that, it's insane that people are still selling Facebook like campaigns.
Right.
On the flip side, you do have clients that are potential clients that are coming to you and saying that they want that.
Right.
So does the blame fall solely on the agency owner, or does the business somehow have to take responsibility when they buy something stupid like that?
Yeah, Chris, that's a good question, man. So my answer here,
we go very deep here.
You're not kidding. So my answer is different today than it would have been, say, 2 or 3 years ago. So 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said, no, the onus is on the agency. Don't deliver that. That's not fair. You're scamming them. Even if they want it, it's wrong. It's like you're selling them crack that's just useless. So, but what I would say today is that there's a balance between selling them what they want and then giving them what they need. So the reality is if someone comes to me and they're like, I want a Facebook likes campaign. That's what I want. I'm going to be like, cool, we can do that. Here's some alternatives. This is going to be better for you. Why don't we try this and this instead? Why don't we do this as well? Here's some other alternatives. They're like, nope, I just want likes. I'll be like, cool. I'll run some likes and then I'll explain as we're doing it. I'll be like, cool, I'm also going to do this. I'm also going to try this. Now, obviously we have scope creep and we don't want to get into this like huge rain where you're doing all this work for free, but it's up to you as the agency to educate them on why the strategy is not ideal, what to do instead. But there's definitely, like, my clients don't always do exactly what I want them to do. It's not like I'm like, this is the perfect thing, you need to do this. They're like, that's great, Adam. We think that's a good idea, but we also want to do this crazy thing. And I was like, that's cool. Let's take 20% and put it there, and then we'll do 80% and we'll track them. And because we have metrics and because we can track clicks and results and things like that, I'm unemotional. I do not care if the client's right or if I'm right. The only thing I care about is the results.
Got it. So this is my last question. What are the characteristics of an agency owner that you know is going to be successful? Because I believe that success leaves clues. And so what are some of those traits, those individual traits of the agency owners that are crushing it today that you see common amongst all of them?
Yeah, right on. That's a good one too. I'm very impressed with your questions, Chris. These are very good, man.
I'm coming up with these right on the spot, by the way.
They're good questions because I was thinking about this the other day. I was looking back through some of my coaching clients and within like 30 days, maybe 60 days, I can predict if they're gonna make it or not. Like, what I look at myself as sort of I'm like gas on a fire, but I can't start the fire. Right. So it's like that has to be really intrinsic into the entrepreneur, into the agency owner. So what makes them successful? Again, I gotta say it. It's that drive that they're going to be successful. Because what ends up happening, especially in this industry, is you get kicked in the face a lot. It's just like right? Like every business owner you're going to talk to probably hates some previous agency they've worked with. And I remember back when I first started, they were like, if ever a business is bashing their old agency, just run, because it's a sign that they won't like you. And I was like, that's cool. But like literally every business I've worked with.
Yeah, that's totally changed. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. They all hate them. And for good reason. That dude tried to run a likes campaign. So anyway, the point is like, no, you've got to have, I wouldn't even say a thick skin, but you've got to be willing to get back up, and you have to be committed to your vision. Is like, this is what I want to achieve. I want that 10K. I want that 15K, that 20, the 30, the 40, the 50, like whatever it is. I want that number per month. And then starting to really work out almost mechanically, reverse engineer the process. It's like, all right, cool. So let's say we want 50K a month. What is that? Well, that's 10 clients at 5K. What could I offer for 5K? All right, that's not going to be here. It's 50 clients at 1K. Okay, I could do that. How am I going to fulfill? What's replicable? Maybe it's SEO, maybe it's Facebook ads, like whatever it is. And then kind of building out the process and it's basically filling up your team as you go and hiring contractors or whatever you need to do. But it all comes down to that drive. Because like 10K a month is not an unachievable number. 100K a month business, very different. You're going to need staff, you're going to need team, you're going to need support. But like 10K, solo entrepreneur, totally doable. You just have to want it. Yeah. Sounds so stupid, but it's so true.
Hey, it's the truth, man. I love it. All right. Well, you guys have been listening to Adam Erhart. Adam, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Yeah, right on. So 2 ways. You should never give someone more than one call to action. I know, but we're going to give 2. So YouTube's a great way. Just Adam Erhart video. You'll find me there. And also adamerhart.com is the website. So either one of those is a good way to find me.
Awesome. And who would be the perfect person to reach out to you today?
Yeah, I think if you've got an agency that already has clients and revenue and you're either plateauing or you want to grow faster, that's a conversation that we should have. So someone that basically is looking to accelerate their agency growth and the profits they're getting from it.
Awesome. Thank you, sir, for being here. Adam Erhart, adamerhart.com. To all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in today, and make sure you return next Thursday and every Thursday for the next episode of Operation Agency Freedom. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.